Number one is just ask the question, why? Why is it that this narcissist has decided at this point in time to disrespect me? Now, initially, of course, you're not probably going to even know that the narcissist is disrespecting you because some of these people, they're very skilled at masking their disrespect. You think they're being kind to you and trying to help you out, but in their mind, they're hurting you, they're taking advantage of you, and they are getting great pleasure out of doing it, and you're going to find out sooner or later, and it's going to hurt when you do. Now, I say number one is ask the question, why? This is really number two. Number one, we're saving to last because we're going to tie all these together at the end. Yeah, have you ever watched one of those Bob Ross videos where he paints a picture and you wonder, where's this guy going with this? But when he gets done, and it takes him, 30 minutes? When he gets done painting the picture, you say, that is so amazing. In fact, when I watch Bob Ross, I think he had to stop like halfway through because I'm really impressed with what he's got done, but he does even better. But that's not the point. The point is we need to ask why the narcissist is doing to us what he is doing or she is doing to us. If we're asking ourselves, what is it about us? Well, that's simple. They see us as low-hanging fruit. They see us as victims. Now, when I talk about this with my autism friends, that's just a given. When you have autism, as I do, people sense that. They take advantage of it, but you may not have autism, but still, you have to deal with narcissists in your life, disrespectful people. Maybe they're not even narcissists, but they have narcissistic traits. So we want to ask, why is the narcissist doing this? We already know why he's doing it to us or she's doing it to us. But what is going on inside his head or her head that makes him or her want to pick us? We want to get inside this person's brain. Obviously, not literally, but we want to know what their thinking process is. And their thinking process is this. They think like children. Just that simple. Every narcissist I've ever encountered seems to have the emotional sensitivity and emotional maturity of a 7-year-old. Seriously. It's all about me first. The first word I ever learned in the English language was the word no. So years ago, I visited China. And guess what? The first Chinese word I learned was no. We got off the plane, disembarked, walking through the airport, and there were vendors. And I watched the other passengers, the Chinese, when they would respond to these vendors, they'd push them aside and they'd say, boo, boo. And I picked up real early, very quickly, that the word boo means no. So that was the first word I learned in Chinese. Well, maybe ni hao or something, but, I learned by experience, and we learn that narcissists need to be told no as if they were toddlers. Well, maybe 7 years old, somewhere between 3 and 7 years old, barely old enough to understand the word no, and maybe not past 7. So when we encounter narcissists, this again, just my opinion, you don't have to take it with a grain of salt, as they say. But my opinion, my experience is when you encounter a narcissist, I think in my head, hey, this is a person with a maturity of a 7-year-old. And I'm going to respond accordingly and be the adult in the room. That's number 2. Be the adult in the room. Take charge. This is not all about this individual, even though they think it is. It's all about circumstances. It's all about life. It's all about me. It's all about other people. It's all about all of us. But not in the thinking of a 7-year-old. That's the way they think. They can't help it. I've never met a 7-year-old who didn't think like a 7-year-old. I'm sure there are a few out there that are more mature. And the same thing holds true of narcissists. They just can't help it. It's the way they think. It's kind of like they're stuck at that age level, and they just cannot mature. They don't even want to mature. They're just perfectly happy. So you got to be the adult in the room. You got to think of yourself as having an adult-child relationship. At least that's what I do. And again, I'm really not giving advice here. I'm just telling you what I've experienced in my 70 plus years of life, and I'm just passing on to you what I've learned. And you can take it or leave it. It's, I don't want to give anybody advice. I just want to tell you what I've learned. All right, number 3 is this. If you're going to be the adult, you got to be in control. If you're going to be in control, you got to, number 3, be calm. Now keep in mind that number 1 we're saving to last, so we're going to call it number 9, but we're going to tie it all together. So be calm, be in control. There's a saying that you've heard, maybe used it yourself, and that is don't let them see you sweat. When you're dealing with a narcissist, don't let them see you sweat because you are the adult in the room. Now imagine you are a teacher and you have a classroom of 7-year-olds. What would that be? 2nd grade? So you're a 2nd grade teacher. Who's in control of the classroom? You better be, or you're going to have a mess on your hands. I mean, those kids, if you don't know how to handle 7-year-olds, you're going to have a tiny top riot, going on. They'll be throwing stuff and biting each other and pulling hair and getting each other in headlocks, and they just go crazy. But a mature teacher knows how to handle that situation. By the way, I would never last a day teaching elementary school and probably half a day teaching high school, if that long. That's just not my thing. So be calm, be in charge, be in control. Let them know that, no, you're not getting inside my head because I've already been inside your head and I'm still inside your head and I know what's going on. You're a narcissist. I've been inside your head and I know that you have a condition that is neurological that you're going to have until the day you die. And you've had it since the day you were born. It's innate. It's inherent. It's immutable. I've been inside your head. I've seen it. I know what it is. It ain't changing. You're not getting inside my head. Go ahead, try. Give it your best shot. But I'm the adult in the room. I'm being calm, and I'm letting you know. Give it your best shot. And they will. They're not going to give up because, well, they're narcissists. It's all about their ego. Number 4 is this. Ask mind-disrupting questions. So when they are disrespecting you, what you want to do is, they do it to get that ego boost, get that ego high. So you want to get inside their head by disturbing their thought pattern, by jamming them, so to speak. I remember back in the 60s when we had this thing going on with Cuba, and America would send radio signals to the Cubans as propaganda. And the Cubans, in turn, would jam those signals, scramble the signals. Well, we're doing the same thing to the narcissist. We're being Cubans. We're scrambling the signals. How do we do that? How do we get inside their head? Well, we just ask questions. We plant thoughts in their brains. Just that simple. What kind of question? Well, one question could be, if, say, for example, a narcissist says something that's disrespectful, you just ask them, why did you say that? And suddenly the question just bounces right back at him. You're returning the shame. You're returning the disrespect. Why would you say that? I mean, what are you thinking about when you say, or, frame the question however you want to frame it, but get back in their head. Take the question and just push it right back in their face, through their face, right into their gray matter. Another question you might ask is if they did something, instead of say something, just ask them, well, why did you do that? My favorite question of all time, I did a full video on this once. The 2 words that you want to ask, this is my favorite thing to say to a narcissist or anyone who's disrespectful, and that is just grow up. Hey, why don't you just grow up? The guy says something disrespectful, and your response is, you're not inside my head. I'm the adult in the room. You're not, so I'm telling you as the adult that it's time for you to grow up. So I say, why don't you grow up? I don't know, I guess it doesn't work all the time, but I've never seen that not work. So what we are doing is we are disrupting their mental process, disrupting their neurological synapses firings, whatever, but they have something going on in their head that says they want to feed their ego at your expense, at my expense, and we are disrupting that signal. We're jamming that signal. We're throwing it back at them. They throw it at us, and it just bounces off and goes right back inside their brain. So now we're in their head, and when you ask them the question, why did you say that? They cannot unthink that thought. When you ask, why did you do that? They cannot unthink that question. When you tell them, hey, would you grow up? They cannot unthink the fact that you think they're immature. And if you say it around other people, everybody turns around and looks. Yeah, why don't you grow up? That's immature behavior. Cognitive dissonance is what that's called. Number 5, sometimes you just need to be unresponsive. So we said, ask disruptive questions, but sometimes the best way to deal with that signaling inside their brain is don't send it back. Don't send a new signal. Just don't send any signal. So they send out the signal of disrespect in word, in action, or probably both. If they're trying to get other people to disrespect you, sometimes the thing to do is to just don't respond. Say nothing, do nothing, ignore it like it never happened. One thing that I found that works for me may not work for you. Again, this is based on my experience. Autodidactic learning is sometimes you don't respond, and then the next time you're really nice to them. And then the next time you're not nice to them. Unkindness. You're mixing up their brain. You're playing with their mind. And they're frustrated. They don't know what to do with you because they want an easy target. They want low-hanging fruit. They want the wounded gazelle. And you're not being that person. But I found really sometimes you just don't do anything at all. You're not being kind to them. You're not being unkind to them. You're not doing misdirection. You're just doing nothing. And they don't know what nothing is. The pop psychology term you've heard a million times is called going gray rock. And I do that sometimes. There's some people that, there are not very many. There's 8 billion people on the planet, plus loose change, which is so many million people. That's a lot of people. I can think of one person that I do not want to be in the same room with, period. I mean, they are just so obnoxious, so narcissistic, that wherever this person is, I don't want to be there. That's gray rock. I mean, that's just cold gray rock. Most people I don't do that with. Number 6 is this. Understand that this person is not entitled to disrespect you. They're not entitled. They think they are. They think they're entitled to disrespect everybody. Now, are there people entitled to disrespect you? Yeah, I would say so. Say, for example, you rob a bank and you're holding hostages. And the police show up, they get you on the phone, and they talk to you. They have a professional that knows how to talk you out of those situations. And so, you realize that what you did was wrong, and you put down your firearm, and you walk out of the bank to surrender yourself. And what do these people do? They tackle you. I mean, they throw you to the ground. That hurts. And they grab your arms and they twist them behind your back, and that hurts. And they put on handcuffs. Maybe they put on cufflinks if they're, you're in Hollywood or something. But they put on handcuffs, and then they they don't throw you in the back of the patrol car. What they do is after they throw you down and drag you around and all that, then they gently put you in the patrol car. They put their hand on your head because they don't want you to get hurt. Then they shove you in the patrol car. That's disrespectful. But you know what? If you robbed a bank, I think you kind of deserved it. And that's just the beginning. It gets worse from there. So there are times when people deserve to be disrespected. But narcissists, they want to disrespect you because that's their way of respecting themselves. If you are disrespected, they see this as a balance sheet. The less respect you get, the more respect the narcissist gets. It's a balance sheet. And what you have to do is, now, I'm not going to disrespect you, but you're not going to take respect from me. There's no balance sheet here. We're going to respect each other, aren't we, narcissists? All right, so number 6 is understand. These people are not entitled to disrespect you. Number 7, when I was making notes, I had to change this one because I got thinking about what I wrote, and I said, I don't think that's right, because what I wrote was don't take it personally. And then I thought about it. What do I mean don't take it personally? It is personal. You have to take it personally. Say, well, they do this, they disrespect everybody. Or they disrespect a lot of people. What's that got to do with it? Say, for example, somebody stabs you with a knife. I'm going to take it personally. Someone says, they stab everybody. What's that got to do with it? It hurts. When somebody disrespects you, when a narcissist takes advantage of you, he or she is wounding you sometimes for life. And, that's just neurology. The part of your brain that, quote, lights up, unquotes, when you experience pain, also lights up when you experience emotional pain or psychological pain. They're inflicting pain on you. And the psychological mental damage that they can do sometimes lasts for a lifetime. Post-traumatic stress, post-trauma syndrome. They're inflicting pain on you. So yeah, take it personally. So the way that I like to think of this is take it both personally and impersonally. By that I mean, yes, they are wounding me, and yes, they are wounding other people. So it's not just I'm concerned about me, but I'm concerned about all those other people that the narcissist is hurting. And the narcissists that I know, and I know a few, not too many, but I know people who I'm convinced are not just narcissistic, it's just a personality, not just a trait, but it's a personality. They disrespect everybody. And so in dealing with a narcissist effectively, I'm actually doing these other people they hurt a favor. I'm helping them. So it's personal and it's impersonal at the same time. Effectively, I'm taking away their knife so they can't stab anyone. Number 7, take it personally and impersonally. Number 8 is know when to stand your ground. Because sometimes a narcissist will disrespect people and it's just not worth fighting over. Just not worth even responding to. There are probably a zillion instances you could think of because you go through life. It's like driving during rush hour in a big city. Have you ever done that? You ever drive in New York City or, Chicago, Detroit? During rush hour, they call it drive time. The radio salesmen call it drive time because it sounds better. People fighting each other, they disrespect each other, they cut each other out, and it is, what are you going to do? Get mad at everybody? You're going to fight everybody? Well, some people do. I mean, they just, when they drive home from work, they're just mad the whole time. What I've learned to do, and this, have you ever driven behind one of those old guys that drives the speed limit? I used to do that, and it would drive me nuts. I mean, I'd get behind the old guy who drives the speed limit. What's wrong with this guy? Now I'm the old guy who drives the speed limit. I look in my rearview mirror and I say, someday he's going to be driving the speed limit. You know why? I just chill. I just calm. Because this is not worth fighting over. Back in the day, I had a radio. I listened to the radio. I don't do that anymore for some reason. I find it distracting. But a lot of people, just sit back, cool, drive the speed limit, stay in your lane, listen to your music. Now, I'm not going to be funny and say Willie Nelson, but listen to your music and enjoy your drive. It's not worth it. These people are fighting. They are being disrespectful to each other. It's not worth a fight. So I drive the speed limit. Now, that's just kind of an analogy, but all of life is like that. I mean, the people behind those cars, they're the same people you go to work with, same people you go to church with, same people you go to school with, same people you see in the grocery store, same people you used to see in shopping malls when shopping malls were a thing. They're the same people, so they're obviously disrespectful. Some of them are flat out narcissists. So whatever. Do you have to let everybody in that wants to cut in line? No, you don't. But still, you don't want to let this control your life. So the point is, stand your ground, but know when not to. Know when it's not worth it. And I'm not sure there's any rule that you could follow that says this is when you stand your ground, this is when you don't. No, what I would say is if this is going to cause me permanent psychological injury, that's a time to stand my ground. But the whole point of all that is know when to stand your ground, and if it's doing injury to you, that's probably the breaking point in my thinking. And I really don't have that line that you draw in the sand and say, okay, this is where you take a stand, and this is where it's not worth it. I just kind of play it by ear or by eye if you get a black eye. So number 9, and this is really number 1, this is where we tie it all together. So I need you to pay close attention to this. Think of Bob Ross, and now here's the finishing touch of the painting. And it's called inference-observation confusion. I've talked about that before on this channel. Maybe you remember. It is better known as jumping to conclusions. Why is that important? I think it's kind of obvious. You probably know already. That's important because sometimes we are offended by a narcissist when, well, there was no offense intended. And so we may react or respond to an offense where there was no offense. All right, so this is really number 1. Okay, so number 1 is be certain this is an intended offense. Sometimes somebody can slight you and not know it, Years ago, I remember driving away from a gas station without paying. And I got a couple miles away, and I just realized, man, I forgot to pay for the gas. So I turned around, went back, and paid the guy, and he said he wasn't going to call the police because people do that all the time. But I didn't intend to do that, and he seemed to understand. Somebody may do something offensive to you, and they're not trying to hurt you. So you got to stop and think, is this a narcissist? And if it is a narcissist, is this person intentionally, willfully saying something or doing something to do me harm? Harm your reputation. The smear campaign, that's not unintentional. That's by design. So that is number 1, which we put at the very end because we want to tie all this together and finish the picture. So if it's unintended, maybe not even an offense, maybe they're not even being disrespectful, we just took it the wrong way. And if that be the case, then numbers 1 through 8, the first 8 we mentioned, just cancel all those. What we need to do is get our act together and make sure that we're dealing with something that is real. Did you get something out of this video? If you did, join our family by subscribing to this YouTube channel. Give the video a thumbs up. That really helps. Don't forget to share this on social media. And comments, did I miss something, or is there something you could add to what I said? We got people watching this that know things that I don't know, or I may have prompted a question or prompted an idea, prompt some other way of dealing with disrespectful narcissists, and hey, share it with folks in the comment section. And we will see you all next time.